as being a full, fun, and meaningful component of the lives of our students. With all due respect, I wonder how many varsity players over the last 2 years would characterize their experience as meaningful and fun. Quite frankly, the Columbia High School baseball program is toxic. The coaches do nothing to make the kids better, help them grow as individuals, or teach them anything about the game of baseball. I talked to another parent recently who actually had other high school coaches advising him not to send his kid to Columbia. 2 coaches approached this gentleman when he talked to them and said, "Don't send your kid there if you want him to play baseball." Fortunately, my youngest will not have to deal with Fischetti or Beck either, as he too, or he will be attending Seton Hall Prep in the fall. Thankfully, he will not be getting the benefits of what Mr. Mamoli referred to as the, quote, fine work of the coaching staff. In closing, I leave you with the following thought. My neighbor played baseball for San Diego State. He told me his high school coach was instrumental in his success, and he's still in touch with him. Then he said something that stuck with me. You should want to play baseball for your coach, not in spite of your coach. I wonder how many kids who played for Coach Fischetti feel the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Next is Marissa Tamayo.
Thank you. My name is Marisa Parisi Tamayo. I'm a graduate of Columbia High School. Buonasera, Signor Mimoli. I am the proud mother of 4 sons, 2 of which have gone through the Columbia High School baseball program. I have to say I completely do not understand how people that we have worked side by side with can come in here and say some of the things that were said and speak for people who aren't here by representing them by name. It just makes me like crazy. I don't know. I was the president of the Columbia High School Baseball Boosters. I worked side by side with these 2 men who have tirelessly put in a tremendous amount of time for what little stipend that they get. They do this because they love the program. They are supportive of these children. They're the parents coming here and speaking to see the children themselves, who are young men, advocate for themselves, because I think that is part of what we are supposed to do as parents, have our children come up and speak. As you know, my son did speak. His experiences were positive. His brother was positive. They put in time and effort to get better and to partake in this program. They did learn from their coaches. They went on to play in college. One son for his school, and another is on club team, enjoying it immensely. I just don't understand that. You know, it's a different way. When we were young, coaches motivated us in a certain way. Now you have to run behind a child and not hurt their feelings. Your parents have to stand back. They cannot hover. You cannot coddle your child. You must have them advocate for themselves and go to the coach if they feel there is a problem before you get involved. Parents think that they know better. I guess they think that they are the coaches. I have sat side by side by many of the people here, and I have heard them on the sidelines to the point where I have to walk away and sit somewhere else because they are coaching. A coach has to be allowed to do their job. I think that these 2 gentlemen put it very clearly how they are going to set up their team. They tell the kids, you might not get a lot of playing time, but you are a valuable member if they are not one of the core 9 that are on the field. You're not here to lose, you're here to win. That is what it is. These men have never berated these children in such a fashion as I have heard here. I'm very disappointed in my fellow neighbors and friends that I encourage you to have your children come here. You are not the coaches. I know that you have a lot invested, and I think that you think there are scholarships available and such, but your kid is here. At best, we have, I'm so upset, I'm so emotional at this moment that I can't say, do something, parent your child, love your child, support your child, have your child advocate for themselves.
From baseball.
Good evening. My name is Patrick Joyce. I'm from South Orange. My son did want to be here, but he's living in New York City and he couldn't be here. He was supposed to send me an email that I was supposed to read, and I'm still waiting for it. So I'm going to ad lib. I would do anything to see my children not be hurt. I would, my 3 children all played varsity sports at Columbia High School. And when your child is on the field and you see the pain in their face, you would do anything to make it go away. But you can't do it. It has to happen. And sometimes you go out and you say, well, maybe I'll change something around the situation so the pain will go away. Maybe I'll take it out on the coaches. Maybe I'll take it out on the teachers. Maybe I'll take it on somebody else because the pain is so hard. My son played all 4 years at Columbia High School. He had a tremendous experience there under then Coach Buscio, Coach Fischetti, Coach Becht. I couldn't teach him how to throw a curveball. I couldn't teach him how to bunt. I couldn't teach him any of the things that they taught him. But I knew when he was having fun, and I knew how to teach just generally. And what these men did every time they walked off the field is they taught my son about baseball and about growing up. He went on to college. He played there for 4 years. He had a very successful college career. And he speaks very, very highly of these coaches. I think that when I watch, and I still go to games because I'm a little bit of an addict, and I sit out by the fence, what I ask myself is, do they have the team's best interest at heart? They're not egotistical men. It's not about them. It's really about the team and about the game. It is hard to see parents who are so injured by what happened to their kids, but I don't think you should take it out on these people. Thank you.
Next, is it Adam Joseph? Yes. On baseballs.
Thank you. My name is Adam Joseph. I am a 18-year resident of Maplewood. And I'd like to begin by saying that I don't for a moment question the coach's dedication. I don't particularly care about their talent as coaches. I don't care about winning and losing. I don't care about playing time. I care about bullying, and I care about the shabby treatment that these men have given to some children. I'm not the slightest bit surprised either that there are many parents and many children who like these coaches, but I think as a Board of Education you have to pay particular attention, as you would to any situation in a classroom where there's a significant number of children and significant number of parents who feel as they've been mistreated. Those negative things in some ways mean more than the positive things. We can't tolerate 1 or 2 or 3 kids being bullied on a team of 25. I'm here tonight, like Brian and like Mark, to ask the board to think very carefully before appointing Mr. Fischetti as head baseball coach for the spring 2015 season. In the years that he's been coaching, Mr. Fischetti has failed to implement the district's vision statement that teachers, quote, support and encourage students to reach their full potential, nor has he treated the players as, quote, valuable individuals whose intellectual, emotional, social, and physical growth is enhanced by a stimulating and engaging educational experience. This comes right from the district vision statement. Instead, he has consistently, perhaps to a minority of students, not to all of them, but to a minority of students, an important minority who have rights, he has consistently denigrated the student-athlete's abilities, regularly used abusive, sexually explicit, derogatory, and homophobic language to students and about students, and retaliated against students who have attempted to resist this bully, in plain, simple terms. As you know, there's an ongoing investigation into Mr. Fischetti's behavior. The district's council has expressed its serious concern over the allegations, but rather than acknowledge his mistakes and mend his ways, Mr. Fischetti has attempted to belittle the investigation by waving it off as the complaints of parents whose kids didn't get enough playing time. In fact, he told that to a number of players and parents. In his arrogance, he also told the kids that they weren't going anywhere. But I can tell you that these are serious allegations. My son started nearly every varsity game beginning his freshman year until he was injured. And despite Mr. Fischetti's best efforts to derail his career, my son is now playing in college. So this is not about a weak player not getting playing time. This is about a strong player who is treated like crap. This is about encouraging and developing student athletes who can succeed in the classroom and on the field. And so I ask, how does publicly humiliating teenage boys encourage their development? How does benching a child because he didn't sell enough t-shirts show respect for his efforts? And how does speaking to the press about a child's health and injury without the parent's consent uphold the district's legal obligations? This was our personal experience. Mr. Fischetti spoke to a reporter for NewJersey.com about an injury that my son suffered to his arm in some detail, and when I called him out on it and said that this was in violation of state or federal law, rather than apologizing for his poor judgment, an apology which I probably would have accepted, he went on to say, how could he not talk to the press about this issue? Because it would be against his integrity as a coach, not telling the truth to the press. And I told him I didn't give a damn about his integrity as a coach. I cared about the privacy of my family and my child. This is the kind of person you're dealing with. My son started playing baseball in Maplewood, South Orange when he was 6 years old. He played with the same boys every year, and they won tournaments and league titles together. When they started high school, at least 9 or 10 of the boys were on the high school team. By the time they graduated, only 3 or 4 were left standing. Most of them left because of the way they were treated by the coach. Some of them have come forward, but others have not because they fear retaliation against their younger siblings. Younger players are afraid to speak out because they are still in the program. Only when the district's lawyer agreed to speak to families anonymously did more families come forward. The fear of retaliation is real. In fact, I feel a little uncomfortable making these statements in public, but I think it's very important. One family decided to pull their child out of Columbia High School and send him to private school to avoid Mr. Fischetti's coaching. How did he respond? By belittling the child's athletic ability, calling him a traitor to his friends, and insulting the child's mother publicly. And what happens when you try to discuss the issues with the athletic director? He puts up his hands and says, "Don't tell me about it. Fischetti is my friend." So you've basically got a fox guarding the chicken coop situation, which is the biggest problem with this baloney so-called investigation that Ms. Aaron and Mr. Bushio trumped up. Such baloney that the school district attorney didn't even know about it until after the fact. Is this the baseball program we want for our kids? Baseball players and their families have submitted more than 50 pages documenting specific allegations and the overall atmosphere of the baseball program. District Council has extended the investigation. We urge you to wait for the outcome of the investigation before you appoint Mr. Fischetti. In the meantime, use this opportunity to appoint someone to run a program that serves the community and not the coach's ego. And I just want to say one more time, you have to pay it. You could have, if there's 25 kids on a team and 23 or 24 parents came up and told you how great they were, and one parent came up and said that coach bullied their kid, that's serious, and it outweighs the other 24. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Joseph. Next name on baseball, Tanya. Hard for me to make out the last name. You hear? Tanya?
No, I'm not speaking.
Yielding. Okay. And finally on baseball, Malcolm Stern.
Actually, let me just. No. I was leaving, but.
Okay, make sure you state your name and.
Tanya Gibson Clark.
Thank you, Ms. Gibson.
I have 2 questions that I really want to pose to the board and to the coaches. This is what I speak at home every day. Integrity and accountability. My kids hate those 2 words. And when my son was going through his junior year and his senior year and feeling really jacked up and he wanted to quit, what I told him was no. Because you, Coach Bushio, were so monumental in his sophomore and freshman year.
Mrs. Clark, can you address us?
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I'm emotional.
It's okay. I'll be there.
Yes.
Coach Bushio was really instrumental in helping my son to go through the teenage years and to get through that freshman and sophomore, being a young freshman and a young varsity player. He was very instrumental. And Brennan will say it to you to this day. It was Coach Bushio. When we got to his junior and senior year, he was ready to quit.